You were raised to be soft, to be open, vulnerable. They told you it was strength, wrapped it in sweet slogans. Be her protector, be her provider, be her peace. They said, that's what women want. A good man, a listener, a feeler, a server. But now, here you are, confused, abandoned, ignored. Watching the same woman who once clung to your every word, now obsess over a guy who won't even text her back. And deep down, you feel it. That quiet itch, that voice whispering, none of this works. Because it doesn't not out here, in the real world. Calvin Reid didn't write women magic lore for the men still clinging to fairy tales. He wrote it for the men who've been burned, ghosted. For the ones who gave everything and got nothing, who finally had enough. See, there's a truth that nobody wants to say out loud. Women don't fall for goodness. They fall for gravity, for power, for presence, for command, not kindness, not compromise, not a heart spilled open like a diary. The man she dreams about isn't the guy who worships her. It's the one who stands like he doesn't need her worship. You were raised to chase, to prove you're good enough, to show her that you care. But the moment you chase, you flip the script, you kill the tension. You say, I'm beneath you, so I run after you. Reid makes it brutally clear, never chase. Because the second you do, you stop being the prize. You become the puppy. And women don't sleep with puppies. They pet them, praise them, then get bored, and move on to the wolf. The wolf doesn't beg for attention. He commands it without saying a word. That's the shift. Women aren't drawn to effort. They're drawn to energy. And the man who doesn't need her? That's the one she wants most. You want her to crave you? Stop craving her. Build. Create a life so rich in mission, in movement, in meaning, that she wants to orbit around it. Not because you bought her flowers. Because you offered silence, purpose, direction, unpredictability. You're still trying to win her over with effort. But women don't fall for effort. They fall for frequency. The man who doesn't flinch, who doesn't explain himself, who can walk away without blinking. That is the man she can't forget. That's the lure. Calvin Reid pulls back the curtain. Most men believe love is fair, a balanced exchange. It's not. It's a power dynamic. It's a psychological dance of who needs less. Who holds the rhythm? Who withholds first? Here's the harsh reality. Women already understand this. They don't need to read a book. They've been taught since childhood. Don't be too eager. Make him work. Let him invest more. Why? Because the one who invests more feels more. And the one who feels more loses leverage. It's not evil. It's not calculated. It's evolution. But here you are, texting first, texting often, opening up too fast, laying your soul bare, hoping she'll feel close to you. But she's not reading your words for connection. She's scanning them for leverage, not to hurt you. To evaluate, can I mold this man? Can I steer him? Can I own his attention? And if she can, you're no longer a mystery. You're a mirror. And women don't crave mirrors. They crave mountains. Reid teaches this in Women Magic Lore. Emotional openness isn't vulnerability. Not if it comes too early. It's volunteering for disarmament. You think you're building closeness. But really, you're just giving her the blueprint. Your every wound, every insecurity, every unmet need handed over without her even asking. And once she has the map, the chase is over. Not because she's cold, because the mystery died in your desperation. Understand this. Women respond to uncertainty with desire. Not chaos, not drama, but masculine unpredictability. The calm man who reveals little, who leads with stillness, not speeches. That's the man who keeps her awake at night. Not the one texting, "Where did I go wrong?" But the one who lives rent-free in her mind because she doesn't have answers. You think intimacy comes from confession, that the more you tell her, the more she'll trust you. But she doesn't trust words. She trusts dominance, direction, detachment. Reid drives it home. Women don't follow explanations. They follow energy. And when your energy says, "Please choose me," She doesn't feel love. She feels repulsion. Not because she's heartless, because biology punishes need. Need smells like survival. It smells like weakness. It screams, I need you to validate me. I need you to make me whole. I need you to fix what I refuse to fix myself. That's not love. That's dependence wearing a romantic mask. And women, they feel that difference in their bones. A man who worships her doesn't make her feel adored. He makes her feel burdened, like she's the one holding it all up. Because when you hand her emotional control, you don't give her safety, you give her a job. And no woman wants to be the man in the relationship. She might act like it. She might even convince herself she enjoys it. But deep down, it exhausts her. So she starts to test you, push your buttons, poke at your peace. Not to hurt you, but to see if there's any backbone left in you. She's begging you silently to stand up, to hold your line, to not fold. Reed puts it plainly. The second she knows she can control you emotionally, you've already lost her sexually. Because desire doesn't live in safety. It lives in polarity. It lives in friction. Not chaos contrast. She is emotion. You are anchor. She is the wave. You are the rock. And the second you mirror her softness, you disappear. She becomes the masculine force by default. And no woman wants to sleep with her emotional twin. She doesn't want to hold you. She wants to feel held by you. That doesn't come from crying on her shoulder. That comes from knowing who the hell you are with or without her. Calvin Reed doesn't sugarcoat it. He doesn't write for your comfort. He writes to wake you up. He says flat out, women don't want your soul. They want your center. They want to feel your axis, unshaken, unmoved. Especially when they try to shake it. And they will. Not because they hate you, but because they need to test you. Not for fun, not out of cruelty, but because deep inside, her biology is trying to verify you. Are you the man you claim to be? Is your confidence rooted or performative? Is your masculinity a mood or is it a mountain? Every silence, every complaint, every swing of her emotions. It's not chaos, it's a measurement. You think you're being punished, so you respond with pleasing. You try to fix, to soften, to give more. But that's the death of polarity. She doesn't want a yes man. She wants a hell no man. A man who says, this is where I draw the line. Not with yelling, not with threats, with presence. Power that doesn't need volume. Power that doesn't beg to be respected because it naturally is. These are the men women remember. Not because they were perfect, but because they were clear. Here's the part most men can't swallow. She doesn't want to lead. She'll pretend she does. Modern culture told her she should. But the second you let her lead, she starts to feel something she'll never say out loud. Disappointment. She loses trust. She loses attraction. And slowly, she starts losing you in her mind long before she ever says it. Because she doesn't want to drive the relationship. She wants to feel your direction. Even when she pushes against it, argues, questions, she still wants to know. Can you hold the frame? Because feminine energy doesn't want to control, it wants to surrender. But surrender requires structure. It needs to trust that the container won't collapse the second she tests its strength. And if you don't have that, if you bend every time she pouts, if you fold every time she withdraws, then don't be surprised when she walks away. Not because she wanted to, but because you gave her no reason to stay. Reed makes it surgical. If you hand her the wheel, she'll drive away, not out of rebellion, out of instinct. And now you're left confused, wondering what you did wrong. You were nice. You were consistent. You gave her your heart. But that was the problem. You led with need, not with abundance. You thought love meant full access. No boundaries, no edge. But what really draws her in? What keeps her coming back is the man who doesn't chase, the man who doesn't try to be chosen, the man who already knows he's the prize. And here's what that really means. You stop chasing approval. You stop leading with your wounds. You stop trying to earn love through emotional transparency. You stop begging for acceptance through affection. And you start doing the work. You become the kind of man who doesn't need a woman to make him feel complete. You build, you sharpen, you evolve. You create a gravitational field so strong, so undeniable that women don't just want to be near you. They want to belong to your world. Not because you told them to, because you didn't. Because you didn't chase, didn't flatter, didn't explain. You led with vision, not validation. With purpose, not paragraphs. That's what women magic lore teaches. Not how to manipulate women. How to stop being manipulated by your fantasies of them. Because here's the truth. Most of your pain doesn't come from her walking away. It comes from you realizing you had nothing outside of her. Your identity was built around being needed, around being wanted. And when she left, so did your self-worth. That's not on her. That's on you. You made her the sun and forgot to become the sky, but that's the beauty in the brutality. Now you know. Now you see the truth. You get to choose now, to stop performing, to stop apologizing, to stop bleeding your worth into the hands of women and wondering why it never feels like enough. You get to stop trading your edge for comfort. Stop giving your power away in exchange for temporary affection. Because here's the final truth, the one most men never reach. Women are not the problem. Your illusion of them is. You expected them to complete you, to validate you, to fix what you never fixed in yourself. But the second you let go of that fantasy, the second you stop expecting her to make you whole, you become dangerous. Not reckless, not toxic, dangerous in your freedom. Because a man who doesn't need a woman to feel valuable is a man women can't ignore. You walk different, speak different, decide different. You love different. You don't love with desperation. You love with clarity. You say no without guilt. You say yes without fear. You stop chasing. You stop begging. You stop performing. You just are. And that is rare. That is the man she can't forget. That's the man who ends the game because he never needed to play it in the first place. You see, the man who doesn't chase, he doesn't win because he's better looking, or richer, or smoother with his words. He wins because he's rooted. Because his validation doesn't come from women. It comes from what he's building. His goals. His mission. His movement. He's not out here chasing approval. He's crafting a life so magnetic, so full, that she wants to be part of his orbit. Not because he pleaded, not because he proved himself worthy, but because he never needed her in the first place. And that's what Calvin Reed drills into you again and again, that your abundance is your leverage, not fake abundance, not pretending like you have options. Real, tangible abundance that comes from the life you've created with your own hands. When a woman senses that your world is full, with mission, with purpose, with direction, she attaches. Not to your words, but to your energy. To the mystery she can't quite figure out. To the man she can't quite control. She starts asking herself the questions you used to ask about her. Where is he? Who is he with? Why isn't he obsessed with me? And in that silence, in that unpredictability, in that stillness, you become the lure, the gravity she can't explain, the man she tries to stop thinking about, but can't. Why? Because you flipped the script. You stopped making her the prize, and became the prize yourself. Most men do the opposite. They meet a beautiful woman and surrender. They cancel plans. They rearrange priorities. They soften every edge just to be more likable. And then they wonder why she lost interest. But what did you expect? You gave her everything before she earned anything. You offered full access before she even knocked. And Reed doesn't say be rude. He doesn't say play games. He says, be rare, rare in your time, rare in your approval, rare in your need. Because when a man doesn't need to speak to be heard, when he doesn't need to explain to be respected, when he doesn't need affection to feel powerful, he becomes unforgettable. Because women have seen compliments, they've seen simps, they've seen nice guys fall over themselves just to be chosen. What they haven't seen, what shakes them to their core, is a man who sees through them, not just at them. That man, he doesn't just shift the dynamic, he redefines it. He's not trying to play the game of attraction, he is the game. And this is what no one's teaching you. Not in school, not in therapy, not on your timeline. Because this truth is uncomfortable, it breaks the illusion. It threatens the lie that the world's been selling you for years. That being soft, open, and endlessly accommodating will earn you love. It won't. Because attraction doesn't grow in equality. It grows in friction, not emotional chaos, not childish games, but contrast. Tension, polarity. She is flow. You are structure. She is fire. You are steel. The moment you try to match her softness with your own, you vanish into her frame. You stop being the man. You become her emotional twin, and no woman dreams of sleeping with her twin. She doesn't want to hold you. She wants to be held by you, and that doesn't come from poetry, or confession, or vulnerability shared too soon. It comes from presence, from the unshakable foundation that says, I know who I am, with or without you. Reed rips the Band-Aid off. He says it flat. Women don't want your soul. They want your center. They want to feel your core, your axis, your gravity, especially when they try to disturb it. And trust this, she will try, not to destroy it, to verify it. Every time she withdraws, complains, criticizes, it's not rejection, it's inspection. She's checking to see if you bend, if you break, if you fold at the pressure. And if you do, she doesn't hate you, she just can't respect you. And without respect, there is no desire. You keep thinking you're being punished, but you're being measured. She's not cruel, she's instinctual. And deep down, she doesn't want to dominate you. She wants to know she can't. Because when a woman feels like she has emotional control, she doesn't feel adored, she feels responsible. And no woman wants to feel like the man in the relationship, so she pushes you. She tests your structure. Not because she wants it to fall, but because she needs to know it won't. And when it holds, when you hold, that's when she lets go. That's when she surrenders. That's when real attraction begins. So what now? What do you do with all this? You stop waiting. Stop apologizing. Stop explaining yourself into oblivion. You stop searching for worth through romantic connection. And you start building. You become a man of weight, of edge, of mission. You sharpen your mind. You discipline your habits. You build a body, a business, a mindset, a life that doesn't ask for attention but commands it. And when she enters your world, she doesn't feel your need, she feels your direction. That's the difference between a man who wins and a man who begs. Between the wolf and the puppy. Reed doesn't want you to hate women. He's not teaching you to manipulate them. He's showing you how to stop being manipulated by your own delusions. To stop bleeding your value into women's hands and wondering why you feel empty. Because the moment you stop needing her to complete you, you become complete. Not in some fluffy spiritual way, but in fire-forged, unshakable clarity. That's when you walk like a man who doesn't chase, speak like a man who doesn't beg, love like a man who doesn't collapse. That's when you stop being forgettable. That's when the game ends. Because the man who doesn't need to be chosen is the man she can't forget. And that, brother, is how you win. If this opened your eyes, stirred something in you, support the channel by checking the link in the description. Like, share, subscribe. Help this message reach the ones who need it most. Cheers.